Hey there, esports fans. It was yet another big week for the LCS.
The best teams in North America battled out for a trip to the World Championships.
But there were also some big roster moves in Counter-Strike and Dota 2, so let's jump right in.
I'm John Reisinger, and joining me as always are Turney and the Daily Dot's Jared Wynne.
That's me.
Hey, Jared. Yeah. Here's everything you need to know from the week in esports.
Two big names in esports have stepped into the Dota 2 arena amid another big week for changes in the scene. First up, Complexity Gaming. The North American organization picked up a team called Stay Green. And Dota 2 fans, if you don't recognize that name, no worries. The players only recently played competitive Heroes of Newerth. But money talks, especially when we're talking $11 million prize pools, and so the squad recently switched over to Dota 2. The other big organization to pick up a new team, Hellraisers, which is taking on Team Relax, who weren't able to emerge from European qualifiers for the International this year. The team is headlined by former Na'Vi member and international champion Ivan Artstyle Antonov.
Meanwhile, another big name in esports has had their Dota 2 team gutted. Fnatic have confirmed the loss of two players, Tal Fly Isaac and Johan Big Daddy Sunstein. The move leaves Fnatic with only two players remaining on their roster, though that surely won't stay like that for long.
So, Jared, it seems like every Dota 2 team has been shaken up in the last month. What is going on?
Well, I would ask you to name for me a bigger esports event than the International, but I won't because that would be an unfair question. Because there is no bigger event than the International. It's worth $11 million.
Of course.
That's so much money. It's more money than we will ever see in our lives.
Yeah. Don't underestimate me.
Oh. It's more money than John and I will ever see in our lives.
Correct.
Yes.
So these teams, this is the biggest event in the calendar for these teams. They put all their heart and soul and effort into it. And when it comes and goes, they have to take a step back, look at the landscape and say, okay, which teammates do I want to be with? Which organizations do I want to pair myself with? Or maybe just do I want to stop playing this game and putting so much time into it? A lot of them say that. Even the best teams in the world reshuffle and reshuffle the deck. Yeah, so next year, we're going to see the same thing happen. Every year, we're going to see the same thing happen. When the International comes and goes, everyone makes changes in Dota 2.
Is that something we've seen a lot in the past, or we're going to see a lot in the future, where big money prizes are going to be able to shift up teams quite more often?
They always will, although hopefully big money prizes will be dispersed more evenly through the calendar year, so you won't have one event in the middle of the year.
It won't be such a spike from that one big prize messing everybody up.
Exactly, hopefully.
Okay, that makes sense.
Very cool. Well, a major Starcraft 2 tournament took place over the weekend in Toronto, and another edition of the Intel Extreme Master Series.
Many of the world's best players from Korea and elsewhere gathered in Canada's largest city to duke it out for the top prize. In the end, it was a legendary veteran who took home the title. Lee Flash Young Ho, who was probably one of the best Starcraft Brood War players of all time, and has only recently started to come back to form in Starcraft 2. Flash won a one-sided final series over fellow countryman Ju Zes Sung Wook. It's likely the best result of Lee's StarCraft 2 career to date, and the victory may serve as warning to other players out there. The so-called ultimate weapon may just have been unleashed.
I was actually there. I saw it. I saw it happen. Yes, it was at Fan Expo, which is I was shopping for hoodies, and then I turned around and there's a tournament going on behind me.
That's nice.
but the best part, I think, was on the first day they started a tournament. They started a match, and then they were like, all the lights went off, and they're like, "Please get out. The convention center is closed."
Kind
they
of
were like,
screws it up a little bit.
They were just still going like, fuck it.
Okay. Meanwhile, in Europe, some big changes are brewing in the Counter-Strike scene. The past week saw the formation of new British team, the Lone Rangers, a team I don't understand for a British team, headlined by a group of players who found success during the taste of Counter-Strike's source. Fans in the UK, I really just pissed off a lot of British people. Fans in the UK will hope to see the success carry over now to Global Offensive.
I don't know him, we're not related. Meanwhile, reports in France have indicated that one of the biggest names in Counter-Strike, Titan, will be making some big changes to its roster. The team appears to be set to release over half their players, replacing them with 3 French countrymen from one of the game's hottest up-and-coming teams, LDLC.
So this move has a chance to shake up the Counter-Strike European game, correct?
Yeah, it does, actually. Very correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Tell me why.
Moving on.
The Lone Rangers...
Thank you, Jared.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
The Lone Rangers could do well. There's some big talent in the British team, but also some big egos. I'd be surprised if they stay together for very long. Maybe they'll prove me wrong just because they saw this. But
wow, both of you are aiming to piss off a lot of British people.
Oh.
I love British people.
Titan is the real story here, though. If they follow through these moves and pick up some LDLC members, that's a big move for them. They've been one of the most stable and consistent Counter-Strike teams for the past couple of years.
Okay.
But this summer has been a bad one for them. That's why they're making the move. I'd be disappointed to see LDLC break up like this because they've really been on the precipice of breaking through and becoming one of the best teams in the world. Maybe Titan will take that title back once they make the move. We're going to see a big reshuffling in France, though, I think. If this all goes through, it's not official yet, but if it goes through, it's definitely going to have a big impact, not only on the European scene, but on the world scene.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, speaking of reshuffling, one of the things that's made Evil Geniuses the most dominant team in Call of Duty history is the stability of their roster. Up until last week, they hadn't changed anyone on the team in nearly 2 years. Well, that streak just ended. Damon Karma Barlow has left the squad after a public spat on Twitter. Barlow left the team after he said he was being replaced, tweeting, "I don't want to be on this team. I was going to be dropped for not going to ESL due to not wanting to miss my daughter's birth." That's kind of harsh. He continued, "And in return, nothing will ever be the same, and I won't play with this team. It's more of a respect thing, and I'm not comfortable." Other players from Evil Geniuses chalked it all up to a misunderstanding, and it sounds like the team and Barlow patched things up on a personal level. Unfortunately, everybody feeling better doesn't change the fact that Evil Geniuses now has a very big roster hole to fill.
If you ever thought the biggest problem with the LCS was that there aren't enough games, Riot had some good news for you on Thursday when it announced the LCS was expanding to 10 teams in both North America and Europe. Riot will fill the 2 new spots in each region by holding an expansion tournament featuring the top teams that missed out on promotion this year. Other big League of Legends news came this week from China, where a couple of veterans announced their retirement. World Elite's top laner, Xiaomei Handong, announced his departure last Monday, followed by AD carry Gao Wei Xiao Shui Chung. Really hard. Sorry, guys. I nailed it in practice. Of course, I didn't get it in the real one. Easily one of the best of all time. The departures come after the squad failed to qualify for the LPL playoffs. And also, come on, I tried.
I was rooting for you.
I tried real hard.
I was rooting for you. The biggest esports event over the past week was undoubtedly the North American LCS playoffs. It's been a long season with some fascinating storylines. There was the revamped Dignitas, the addition of LMQ, the Chinese challengers, and then the suddenly vulnerable Cloud9.
So Team Solomid kind of kicked things off. Will you walk us through their big match?
Well, they were not the favorites against LMQ, certainly, because, as we mentioned last week, LMQ went 4-0 against Team Solomid during the regular season. That's a great mark. Weren't able to reproduce that success here, though. Team Solomid played great League of Legends, came down to the 5th and final game, and in that game, TSM dominated. It was one of the most one-sided matches we've seen this entire LCS season, which is saying a lot for the playoffs, Game 5 of the semifinals. So Team Solomid played exceptionally well and really showed some steely nerves at the very end.
And then Team Solomid was also looking to disrupt Cloud9. Cloud9 was kind of the one that people thought was going to win. What happened?
Well, Cloud9 is the perennial favorite in North America, and they played very well in the semifinal against Curse. Curse got swept out by Cloud9.
Okay.
Just swept right out the door. Just get out of there, you know? But against TSM, not so fortunate. Cloud9 lost the first game they'd ever lost in the LCS playoffs.
Wow.
Against Team Solomid, and then lost the first series they were lost in the LCS playoffs against Team Solomid. TSM came to play. They went down to a 5th and final game with Cloud9, just as they did with LMQ, but this final game was a much closer one than the LMQ final game was. It was very back and forth. We almost saw a base swap where both teams were going for the other team's base to finish the game. Ended up coming down to a big team fight at the end, which TSM won, which gave them the window opportunity in which to take the game. So great play by TSM, great play by both teams, really. It was a really well played final.
Okay.
So Team Solomid, Cloud9, and LMQ, those are our last remaining North American teams. Does North America have a shot?
At Worlds, they have a shot, but, you know, everyone has a shot, I guess. Cloud9 and TSM did play really well in this final. It's a really well-played final. I think they've pushed one another to raise their level, step up their game, and they do have a chance of beating some of the great teams in Worlds. The problem, though, is the best Korean teams are really, really, really good.
Okay.
And I'm not sure these North American teams are good enough to challenge them. LMQ is also going to be there. They're a solid team. I don't see them being a big challenger either. I think TSM could pull off a big upset. I think Cloud9 is the real hope to maybe make the semifinals.
Okay.
I don't think any of these teams really have a chance at winning the whole thing. But, you know, what can you do?
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Well, thank you, Jared, for walking us through all of this. And that's it for the leaderboard this week. But be sure to keep an eye out for the Know It All on the Rooster Teeth channel, where we'll bring you all the biggest news stories in the week in one shot.
In the meantime, for more gaming entertainment news, make sure you click like and subscribe. And we'll see you next week for more of the leaderboard. GG, everyone.
Yeah, filthy.